Hi, good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. We have our open house today that we do, and I want to start by, first of all, introducing everyone out there to all the people that we have. So, Trey, if you can just share the overall screen, the view with everyone. I'm going to leave StreamYard. That we have an extraordinary group of people joining us. This is our open house that we do. And we're going to be talking about, if Trey to people on social media can share, where we're at. It's really, really important to understand where we're at. Many of you know that because I take a systems approach, we have a deep prescience, and I'm able to give you guys insights of where trajectory is headed. And it's always been very accurate. So you can get prepared so you don't get caught with your pants down, okay? And that's what one of the service our movement does. But before we go into the analysis of how Trump has now tranquilized MAGA and Kamala has destroyed Dems and what we got to do, I was sharing with our open house here the extraordinary people we have in our movement. And I wanted to share a video montage that one of our volunteers put together, Andrew Rice, but which is a montage of the testimonials of people in our movement. And what you're going to see is that what we have now, what the world has now, which is an amazing gift, is a global movement, Truth, Freedom, Health, which is the only force that is independently mobilizing the working class of the world with the right physics, with the right science, with the community, with the infrastructure. So we shatter the swarm and we win. The MAGA movement was organized and to be misled, and that was Trump's role. For the last 50 years, the quote unquote left has completely demoralized working people. So the goal has always been to demoralize working people from ever doing anything for themselves. But our movement says save yourself. And I just want to start with sharing. I was just doing this. I'm glad that we're going live because I want to share with all of you a set of video montage of sorts of our extraordinary people in our movement. And this was something that all the leaders in our movement gave their reasons, why people should write in Dr. Shiva, but it really emerged into a really beautiful story that I want to share with everyone. And I'm going to share with you a couple of them, but let me start with this one.
Every 4 years, billions of dollars will be spent to force your hand to pick the lesser of two evils.
I'm tired of the slave system that's evolved in our country, where the rich get richer and the hardworking people have to work even harder to make ends meet.
They want to keep us divided. Black, white, Republican, Democrat.
I'm telling you, as working people, we need to unite.
We are trapped in a vicious cycle, an endless loop of frustration and disappointment, in which everyone is just a passive observer. Let me tell you, this isn't accidental. It's deliberate. This is by design.
The only way we're going to break this system is a bottoms-up movement. That's when real change occurs.
It is not Dr. Shiva that's going to save us. It's not Trump, and it's definitely not Kamala Harris. It's us uniting as a revolution and taking our country back. This is what Dr. Shiva wants from us. He wants us to have the empowerment, the strength, the knowledge to fight together as a group, as working people in this country, to be our own leaders.
There's no one else who has the integrity, the knowledge, and the fortitude.
To me, he's about as American as you get. He's like the picturesque American.
He loves my America the way I love my America. He came from bottoms up. Everything that he has, he earned with his blood, sweat, and tears.
When all of us had our businesses shut down, Dr. Shiva told the truth at the right time when it made a difference for a lot of people.
He's the only candidate whose deeds match his words. All the other candidates are either incompetent or corrupt.
He's the only one out there teaching you the system science behind the politics, what the elites know and you and I have never been privy to in our lives.
We can all learn how to organize with each other. We understand how the science of these things work. Now they can't stop us because they're not just worried about one guy, they're worried about all of us. It's all of us working together against them. And that's what he's teaching us, and that's the movements he's creating.
Dr. Shiva, the bottoms-up movement all over the world, people rising up, communicating, connecting, networking. It's happening.
Now is the time to break free from the cycle of choosing between lesser evils. Now is the time to invest your time and energy in a movement that will produce results.
Dr. Shiva, ladies and gentlemen, is the only person who's truly qualified to run this country.
His name will either be on the ballot, and if it isn't, you have to write his name in. Very simple.
By taking this action, you're taking the responsibility on your own shoulders and becoming the creators of your own destiny. We are not born here to wait for someone else to make change happen. We need to take that into our own hands. We need to reclaim our right to be the architects of our own lives. This is our moment to create the future we actually deserve.
I'm voting for Dr. Shiva.
Yeah, I'm voting for Dr. Shiva.
Please, writing Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai.
I highly implore, vote Dr. Shiva or write him in.
Shiva for president, write him in.
Write in Dr. Shiva.
It's our birthright to have truth, freedom, and health. And I hope you can join us and write Dr. Shiva in. Thank you. Dr. Shiva!
We'll play a couple more videos, but I wanted to share that because when you put all those voices together, what emerges is something bigger, and that's what a system is. It's not any one piece, but it's all those voices together. So what's extraordinary is every one of those people you saw, Sonia, for example, is in North Carolina. Sonia, essentially with just a little bit of teamwork, got us on the ballot as a write-in in North Carolina. You have to recognize that even getting us as a write-in is not easy because you have to have your votes counted. And from the numbers that we have, we got close to around 250,000 votes, right? Because if you look at most of the write-in, we're the actual ones who ran a real write-in campaign. And let them, when we add up all those write-ins across the country and you take a haircut to those. So Rose Cias is, I think, Rose, you put those numbers together, right? Rose will share some of those numbers later on, how we came up with that. In Massachusetts, we got close to 30,000 votes, higher than when you add the write-ins plus the actual listed votes, more than Jill Stein, who has a massive party behind her. We destroyed the Libertarian Party, which has been around for years. So you have to understand that among the independents, they had to make us invisible. We did a conversation today with a gentleman from London, a very smart guy. He goes, what I've noticed here is they actively do not want to whisper your name. They don't want to say your name. It's active. I want everyone to understand that it's deliberate. They're so afraid to mention the word Dr. Shiva anywhere. It's quite amazing. And that their silence speaks volumes, and it speaks to the strength of our movement. So that brings me to where we're at. So go back to the core commandment that I shared. To the elites, thou shalt not allow them to build an independent bottoms-up movement. Everything is done. And again, you have to really get this. Everything they do is to make sure that we do not organize independently of them. Very hard for a lot of people to understand. If you really grasp this, it's very deep. And so we teach in our framework, in our educational institute, in our movement, in our community, whatever you want to call it, because it's all those things, this very, very powerful concept. People use the word movement. When Trump uses the word movement, or when Fucker Carlson uses it, is what he's really saying is don't create a movement. Come to us. I will take care of it for you. When we use the word movement, it means you have to want to save yourself. It's very fundamentally different. And a movement here is independent of them. We have our own leaders that emerge from below. We're not reliant on them. We have our own infrastructure. We're not reliant on their social media. If they want to throw us off, great. We still go forward. We don't need to get on their talk shows. We don't need their influencers. You see, you're off the plantation. It's very, very important to understand. This is why they must make us invisible. They do not want to give any credit to all of you, me, all of us. If we develop things on our own, it's very dangerous for them. It's too dangerous. And so what we have done is we have created that independent global movement of our own leaders. And that little video just shares with you a little bit of that. I'll play you another one. And what was really exciting for me is watching the growth of people who've come to this level of understanding. It's quite extraordinary that they're able to articulate this knowledge. And we're talking about very, very hard to understand knowledge that we have made accessible. What is a system? What are the thermodynamic properties of a system? How do those properties exist in your body, in society, everywhere? That there are foundational principles that you can understand to explain everything. You don't have to live in the dark. You don't have to wait for some messiah, which is what they want you to do. So you can absolve yourself of doing anything. You can outsource your reality to others. It's very deep. I gave a talk a couple of weeks ago, I think last week, about the fact that they do not want you to be your own hero, which is the essence of being human. They want you to even outsource the depth of this very powerful thing that soul has to go through its own journey to somebody else. They don't want you to go through your own struggles. They don't want you to become a hero. It's called the hero's journey. So everything they do is to outsource yourself to somebody else. Outsource your physicality, your emotional health, your mental health, your physical health, and your spiritual health. All of it. And our movement says, no, we're not going to tolerate that. We want people to take responsibility and save themselves. So when we ran our campaign, we got people to do stuff. Go out and hand out cards. Oh, that's not my cup of tea. I'm a highfalutin person. I'm good at talking to people. No, you get out and hand out cards. Get us signatures. Everyone had to go do that. They don't do that. We got on the ballot from our own 2 feet. They didn't do that. So I really want you guys to understand what we did. And every time we had successes, they had to make it invisible. I mean, think about it. I'm the first time a naturalized citizen's on the ballot. That should be on the front page of the fucking New York Times. Even a historic thing like that, if it was a Brahmin like Vivek Ramaswamy, they would have made news out of it. You see? Because the New York Times promotes him and Kamala Harris. And it's not even racism. It's deeper than that. It's one of us coming from below. So since 2020, to understand what's going on right now, where the future is, since 2020, it was our movement that exposed all of this stuff. Right after we exposed the issues with the pandemic, a year later, Booby fucking Kennedy writes books about it. You see, this is called a limited hangout. So what they have done now is they know guys like me who are supposed to be on their plantation being their house slave will get off. And we got off their plantation. They never thought we would mobilize a bottoms-up movement. So what they decided was, as I've said, is the establishment, again, what is the commandment? Thou shalt not build a bottoms-up movement. So they have their obvious establishment, which is one head, but they have their other the other head, which is the not so obvious establishment. Very, very deep stuff that it'll take you 30, 40 years, a lifetime to even understand what this simple concept. They have the obvious establishment, which any idiot can attack, but they create their not so obvious establishment. And they create that so you don't build a bottoms-up movement. You say, oh, Booby's saying all these amazing things. Tucker Carlson is saying all this stuff. Elon Musk is saying this stuff. Vivek the Snake is saying this. Tulsi Gabbard is anti-war. So what they did, because of our movement, in every sector, war, election integrity, health, go down the list, they created people who mimicked our words. Quite extraordinary. It was engineered. People will tell you, literally cut and pasting our words, because they do not expect someone like me who could have gone down their path to leave them and build a bottoms-up movement. Total problem for them, very problematic. And we've done that. So they literally copy our words. And now they have a multi-headed non-NSOE serpent who they gave to Trump. That's what they did. So around Trump, is all the NSOEs. It's like 360 degrees of not so obvious. Oh, you want to talk about anti-war? Come to us. We have Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, you want to talk about election integrity? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, free speech? We have Elon Musk. Oh, you want to talk about making yourself healthy? We have Booby fucking Kennedy. We have all the solutions. You don't have to do anything, MAGA. We got it under control. We are going to take care of you. That's why there's a silence. Nothing. They've tranquilized a segment of the American working class, which we are the ones, we got them excited. We did in 2020. I exposed the election integrity. Trump came in afterwards. Booby Kennedy came in afterwards. It was too dangerous. And then they made us invisible. Do you guys understand this? They do not want to give any notoriety, popularity. When we, the people from the outside, discover their things, they have to shun it. Like the invention of email. Oh, no, we can't have that. That can't occur in Newark, New Jersey. Or the invention of TV. No. Working class people don't do that. Or the guy that created the windshield wiper, a Michigan mechanic. Okay? So they actively cannot have one of us ever doing anything innovative, ever discovering things, ever breaking the news. They can't have that. It has to be them. Because they have to make you, they have to diminish you. Oh, only they can do it. Okay? So what has occurred in the last 4 years is the MAGA movement was corralled and then corralled right into Trump with all these not so obvious establishment people. The day, within less than 24 hours of Trump, quote unquote, winning this election, who did he first call? Netanyahu. First call. Second call was to Lindsey Graham, the warmonger, who wants to nuke Iran. Those are the first 2 calls he made. Netanyahu and then Lindsey Graham. Okay? The first 2 calls that he made. And that should tell you pretty much what's going on. And if you look at the data, I wanted to give you a couple of data points here that I put together, a couple of bullets that'll help you understand what's going on. So the US has more than now a dozen B-52 bombers, B-2 stealth bombers, a squadron of F-35s, a squadron of F-15s, KC-135 tankers, and at least 1 B-52 with a nuclear bomb in the Middle East. I don't know if you guys know this. No news is even talking about this. And Israel's October 26th retaliation strike was a total failure. So, and the Iranians, contrary to popular belief, have developed very sophisticated defense systems. The US has also sent a carrier strike force with USS nuclear submarine carrying nuclear missiles. And the Israeli casualties are getting so bad, there's seriously low morale right now. And there's desertion, the Israeli army is deserting at a rate of up to 25%. Okay? So this is what's going on. Separate from that, Sergei Lavrov, he said, you know, under Trump is when we had the most number of sanctions ever issued under Russia. And it doesn't matter to Russia who wins the election. So the reality is, it was under the neoliberal administration. If you go back to 1970, it'll give you an understanding where we are today, 54 years later. In 1970, consolidation of power took place to make sure that the American people would never build a bottoms-up movement. The 70 years before that, or the 100 years before that, in fact, the 70 years before that, in the early 1900s, the American people were vibrant. Not just people on keyboards talking, whining. No, they were on the streets, building these bottoms-up movements. And I encourage you to go ask, if you're in the United States, go ask your grandparents if they're still alive, or ask people that you know. The US has a rich, vibrant history of building these bottoms-up movements. And the amount of billions of dollars they had to spend with Madison Avenue advertising to remove that rich and noble history of the American working class is quite extraordinary. The amount of media propaganda that was done, that if you use oh, these people are quote unquote communist, to label everything quote unquote socialist, without even telling people what those words were. The Red Scare. So since 1950 to 1970, massive propaganda institutions were set up at the educational level, at the academic level, to vilify this concept of building independent bottoms-up movements. So by the 1970s, all of it got consolidated together. And as a part of that, they needed to make sure that we vilified Russia as a nation, because the Russians are the ones who fought Nazism. The Russians are the ones who had a brief period, an opportunity where working people rose up. They had to destroy all of this. But more importantly, Russia represents a serious problem to the United States and British elites, because Russia has massive amount of natural resources. I don't know if you just heard just today, the entire economy of Germany is collapsing. I don't know if you've been reading this. The price of electricity is skyrocketed. Why? Because the US foreign policy was to make sure Russia would no longer give any more fuel or gas to Germany. Germany was one of the most vibrant economies in Europe, highly innovative, highly creative, a vibrant working class. And they had to destroy that, and that's what they succeeded in doing. They had to weaken Germany, which was the powerhouse of Europe. This was all done by British and US imperialism. So when you look at all of this, the goal has always been to castrate the working class movements. And so between 1970 till today, there has been serious stealing of money from working people. The Rand report lays it all out. Since 1970 till today, at most, there's been 2 million people and maybe 900 strikes in the United States, bottoms-up movements. And wages of the first and second income quartile to the working class have dropped precipitously. And it's been close to 47 trillion or more, $50 trillion has been transferred upward. There's been a brutalization of the American working class at every level. The industrial sector of the American working class has been destroyed. When up until 1980, if you took standardized exams like AMCAS, SATs, they were very difficult. After 1985, 1990, the SATs and all these exams are like easy. And if you can't pass them, the AMCAS, they said, oh, Johnny doesn't have to pass the exam. He can do just some report. So they have taken the American public and destroyed them educationally. There's no meritocracy. I got 800 on my SATs in math. It was very difficult at that time, perfect score. But I worked my butt off. Now they give 800s like it's like crazy. The quality of knowledge has gone down. Up until 1985, if you looked on the Putnam exam, which was like the most advanced test in mathematics, was always Americans. There's no Americans on that list anymore. So the guts of the American working class has been ripped to shreds. We don't manufacture. The United States is dependent on minerals from Russia and China. Russia and China can say, fuck you. So it's been a deliberate effort, step by step by step, to destroy the American working class. And the way it was destroyed was making sure the American working class never built independent bottoms-up movements. So the Democratic Party was supposed to be the party of the working class, right? Go ask your grandparents, right? The party of workers. They've become the party of the affluent people, another wing. So the Democratic Party for the last 5 years has totally capitulated. And the so-called right wing has now just unified. That's why Kamala Harris, she has no talking. There's nothing there. She's going and bombing people in Palestine. So even Democrats are like, what the fuck's going on? So they unleashed Jill Stein to steal all of her votes so Trump could win, you see? So Muslims think Jill Stein is their savior, when Jill Stein is the one who threw Cynthia McKinney out of the Green Party for asserting that 9/11 may have been caused by, Israel. So there's no vanguard party. There is no champion for the American working class. Nobody. So in the midst of that vacuum, they created Trump to succor all those working class, particularly the white working class, the most powerful working class on the planet. They completely castrated them. Talked a big game, and look at their silence. The white working class in this country is thinking Trump's going to save them. He's going to do shit for them. They don't have to be activists anymore. So it's complete nullification. The unions don't fight for the working class in this country. Who is fighting for the American worker? Nobody. Nobody. If you compare the health statistics of health outcomes of the American people, it is worse than Cuba. Cuba has a pretty good healthcare system, by the way. A country which has been under massive embargo. If you literally, and lifespan is going down, mortality is going down. Look at the obesity rates in America. And Booby fucking Kennedy ain't going to make America healthy again. So they had him come steal all of our words to give him, he's not going to do shit. He's talking about safe vaccines. He's openly said, I want full vaccination of all Americans. What they're going to create, this is what they do. They're going to do a collaboration with Big Pharma and then make everyone feel good. Oh, Booby's got it under control. All the medicines are good. It's all good. So Big Pharma is going to even get bigger because they're going to make everyone think everything's safe now. Elon Musk is free speech, really? I mean, the level of shadow banning everyone sees that our campaign endures. It's like the highest form of censorship. I have a company in my building which creates a lens. It's called a telescope lens that they use for ground satellites to look out. I mean, not ground satellites, but people to look through the clouds. It's really cool technology. You take a mirror and you make a lot of pieces and you can have a deformable mirror. It's called microelectronics, okay? So the owner of the company, when I was coming here to the parking lot, and we were talking, and he says, and in 1984, a fraternity brother of mine, when I first came to MIT, he was working at a company called NERC. And from space, they could see a dime. You could, and he showed me a picture. He goes, we took this from space. Here's a dime. That was in 1984. So Paul was telling me, he goes, if you have a cell phone now, from space, they can see your cell phone cover. Elon Musk just got $2 billion from the government to build, a mesh network for the government. So what's happening now in the United States is the government and large corporations have created unholy alliances. So the government is outsourcing censorship, outsourcing surveillance, laundering it to private companies. And if that private company is Starlink, for example, and you buy a Starlink service and they say, fuck off, Jason, we're throwing you off, Jason Jeffries. Mike, we're throwing you off. You can't do anything because they're a private company. They have First Amendment rights. So government, by the people, for the people, the US Constitution, which had these amazing Bill of Rights, allowed corporations to also have those Bill of Rights. So government has outsourced major infrastructure things that government should be doing that you and I can keep government accountable to these private companies. And guess what? At least before, if if the government, like the Postal Service, opened your mail, you can sue them. You can't do that now because they laundered censorship. That's what my lawsuit showed. And then they had other fools file a fake lawsuit all the way up to the Supreme Court, which failed. So now that precedent-setting lawsuit has set the fact that government can, in fact, surveillance you and censor you using private actors. So this is what is called state capitalism. It's not socialism. It's not communism. No, it's called state capitalism. It's fascism. This is what China does. In China, the Communist Party of China openly tells you we've taken all the political leaders and the leaders of our big companies and we merge them together in one unit called the Communist Party of China. In the United States, we give this fake, quote unquote, Chinese wall, no pun intended, between private companies and government. They're all one now. But it's even more insidious in the United States because Americans think they're getting democracy. And this was all brought to you over the last 4, 5, 10 years since 1970. Step by step by step by step. Private companies are the front-facing things that deliver you these infrastructure services that the government should, where we could have held the government accountable. And you have no rights anymore. Banks, go down the list. You could be made a non-entity overnight. And that is what Trump has done. He has tranquilized MAGA on November 5th, 2024. That was his job. And all the Dems are like, what the fuck? Bernie Sanders did it first, sold him out to Hillary Clinton. So the American working class, both wings of the American working class, have no one fighting for them now. That's why I said Trump has tranquilized MAGA. Tranquilize them. They're just going to think that Trump's going to take care of everything for the next 4 years. This is why the swarm is ecstatic. They're so jacked up. They, they kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But guess what? Our movement is here. And we have been exposing this. We've created an infrastructure. And this is why they have to make us invisible. And so what are we to do? Well, what we're to do is we're going to escalate our movement, because it's actually a fantastic time, because we're not going to have to deal with the MAGA-tards. They're going to be sucking up to Trump. They're over there. Before they used to come and try to argue that Trump's their savior, right? Great. They're over there following Trump, sleeping. All the Democrats are demoralized, sleeping at home now. That's good. Let them sleep over here. We don't have to deal with that distraction. And the MAGA-tards are over there sucking up to Trump. So that has now opened up a huge, amazing quality of people that are coming to our movement now. The people actually see this shit, intuitively they get it, but they don't have a home. And they're looking for the right political theory. They're looking for the right community. They're looking for infrastructure. They're looking to grow because they've been screwed. So we're at the right place at the right time for the right people. That's where we're at. So some of you may know, 2 years ago, if you came to our open houses, people would show up, well, Dr. Shiva, I think you're attacking Trump too hard, right? He did this and he did that. Go hang out with Trump. He's over there. Go. He's going to save you. Go hang out with Booby. He's going to safe vaccinate you. He wants vaccination for all. Go. We don't have to deal with them. So I'm telling you, it's a brilliant time. It's a very historic opportunity. And the only person that they have left is Jill Stein. Okay? They're going to try to fill that vacuum, trying to act as though she's anti-establishment. You see? But they have a problem because she just took all the, people were against the genocide, and she basically modulated it for Trump. So there's a very important scenario that's coming out now. Trump just said that he wants to take out Iran's nukes. Okay? It looks, apparently, according to Trump, only people who commit genocide should be able to have nuclear weapons. People who are into genocide get nuclear weapons. If you're not into genocide, you don't get nuclear weapons, okay? So Israel gets nuclear weapons, United States gets nuclear weapons, Britain, all these countries have committed genocide, okay? Israel gets nuclear weapons, but no one else gets nuclear weapons unless you get a particular pass. So going back to what Sergei Lavrov said just 48 hours ago, he goes, it doesn't matter to us about Kamala Harris and Trump. They both want to fuck up Russia. Russia has $75 trillion worth of natural resources. They've always been the jewel that Western imperialism has wanted to cut up. And in closing, what I want to tell with you is since 1970. So 1970 is when the destruction of the American working class, that's when it reached its pinnacle, where they sort of figured it all out. But also in 1970s, when they put together a global plan, and this was done by Zbigniew Brzezinski, and people like Mike Pompeo are rabid warmongers on this matter. They want to eliminate all the Muslims, and they want to go after Russia. I don't know if you know this. It's like hawkish as you can get. And who does define this hawkishness? It was done actually by the Democrats, Jimmy Carter. It was under the Carter administration, they went totally neocon. And they said, we must destroy Russia. And they laid out a very clear plan. It was a 40-year, 50-year plan. And step by step, they've been marching down that path. First was to destroy the Soviet Union. Next was to expand NATO. Next was to go into Ukraine. Next was to atomize Russia. And that's where we're at right now. And part of that was to start a multi-front war with Russia. Multi-front war. Because historically, Napoleon failed against, every major invader has failed against Russia. You can go, right, Hitler, that's where, lost. So the idea is to have a multi-front war, and Lloyd Austin has said we want a war of attrition. One along the Middle East side and one along the Ukraine. So they pulled off Ukraine. So now you tell me, if you are US imperialism and you got to have one pronged attack on the Ukrainian side and another one on the Middle East side, you already started this. How do you start this? Work backward and play chess if you've ever played chess. So if you want to have Russia get involved in the Middle East, what do? Okay, who's Russia's closest ally in the Middle East? Iran. Okay, so now you say, okay, I got to get Iran doing some shit. Okay, how do you get Iran doing some shit? Okay, you find Iran's proxies. Well, Hezbollah. And Hezbollah's in Lebanon. I got to get Hezbollah activated. Well, how do you get a Hezbollah activated? Well, we have to do a massacre in Gaza. Okay, so we got to have a massacre in Gaza. How do we start a massacre in Gaza that we can justify? Oh, let me have Hamas, which Israel created, fly hand gliders over into Israel one day, which, by the way, was, I don't know if you saw, I shared it with you in the Economist magazine. They already, have you seen the front page of the Economist magazine? Have you guys seen this? They have hand gliders flying over with Hamas on the headband. Hamas was always funded by Israel. So you call up Hamas. Hamas comes over. Now you have the justification for creating the genocide in Gaza. Now you have Hezbollah gets involved. But the goal is to get Iran, because when Iran gets involved big, Russia will have to come in. Now Russia will have to fight a two-front war. And when Russia has to fight a true front war, it'll be a war of attrition on Russia. That's the theory. At the end of the day, if the U.S. imperialism and Zionists invest, like, let's say $100 billion, even $1 trillion on such a war, maybe they get 10% of Russia land out of the deal. Well, that's still 10% of 75 trillion is about 10 trillion still. Pretty good return on investment. That's the global game. And in order to do all of that, you have to quiet down the American masses. You have to demoralize one wing of the working class, the Democrats, and you have to tranquilize MAGA. And that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. That is my systems analysis. Who is even thinking on this level? Who is even talking about any of this shit? Nobody. Just like nobody said anything in March of 2020. Our movement, you can go see it. I was the first one who called it out. Fauci, all of this stuff. And we didn't even have anywhere of a movement we had, but now we do. So it is more important than ever, every one of you, those of you who are leaders, it's very important you, in your areas, you find other really, really good people. Don't waste your time with people who are, wankers and talking all sorts of nonsense. We don't have to wait for that. We can find great people. Those of you who are new, who've been sitting on the sidelines, sort of 1 foot in the toe, get involved. Go through the course. You have to go through the course. You have to understand this. You have to be good students. You have to be disciplined. You see, in the ancient systems of yoga or meditation or even the martial arts or karate and all those things, I don't know if you guys know this, people will call me up, oh yeah, I want to raise my kundalini, I want to achieve nirvana. I heard all these meditation techniques. Well, in the path of in the Eastern or even any spiritual traditions, it was a 8-path, it was a 9-step process. And at the end of it, you were taught all the ancient techniques. But way before you were taught that, the first 2 processes were you a good human being? Were you disciplined? Could you get up and do work on a schedule? Did you have integrity? Did you have ethics? You had to have those 2 things before you even taught any of this other stuff. This is why in our Systems Health program, where we teach people a lot of this stuff, I give an incentive for people to go through Truth, Freedom, Health, because we get you on the ground. In order to become a warrior scholar, you got to hand out a certain number of cards. If you don't want to do that, fuck off. We're not going to teach you because you're not qualified. You don't want to do the work. So our movement has laid out a nice structure, an educational program, and given you support to do that. And out of that has emerged some incredible people. So let me play you another video, if I can, right here, of one of our other people here. I think I can bring it up here. Let me bring up, I think, where did it go? Did I lose it here? Here we go. So you heard this one. Let me bring up another one in this series that we did. I think it's here. Yeah. So let me bring this up. And again, I want you to see the quality of these people, and sort of, again, this video montage sort of does a good service to them.
Then I discovered Dr.SHIVA. I was looking for a leader who stood for the American people, who was one of us, not a servant of the elites. Then I discovered Dr.SHIVA.
Dr.SHIVA is one of us. He holds all the credentials and he uses them to fight, to help the working people and for the betterment of humanity.
This year, we have a candidate who not only speaks the truth, but does it boldly, at the right time, backed by real action in the form of a bottoms-up movement.
A bottoms-up movement is the only thing that ever got children out of the workforce, got the 40-hour workday. They got our infrastructure, our clean water.
Dr.SHIVA represents solutions. Dr.SHIVA represents you and I coming together like human beings, working together, looking at the real solutions and the real problems and working it out.
He's the only individual that's been running for president that I've ever paid attention to politics that's added value into my life.
In order to change a system, you have to learn what it is first.
He's actually got me educated on things that I never knew before about politics and how they affect our biology as well as our community.
The Truth, Freedom, Health movement is a true bottoms-up movement, which is what the establishment fears the most.
We're handing out these cards. We're shattering the swarm, and then we're also teaching how to save yourself.
It doesn't matter if you vote for Kamala or if you vote for Trump. You're both voting for the decrease of your lifespan and the increase of cost of living.
He's the only one on our planet who has fought against the elites his entire life, and he uses his knowledge to teach us so we can fight back.
There is no other presidential candidate that provides a systematic approach to all the issues that plague America today.
The cost of living is going up and lifespan is going down. So really, we have no choice but to vote Dr. Shiva. I mean, you have no other choice. You have nothing else to lose but your chains.
I endorse 110% Dr. Shiva. He is honest, he is principled, and he's the only anti-Zionist candidate that we have in this election cycle.
Real change won't come from above. It starts with us, from the bottoms up.
So vote for Dr. Shiva.
Vote Shiva for president.
Vote on the ballot for Dr. Shiva or write him in.
Vote for Dr. Shiva or write him in. Vote Dr. Shiva.
I urge everyone, vote for Dr. Shiva. Write him in.
Vote or write in Dr. Shiva for U.S. President.
You can change that vote for Dr. Shiva to save yourself. Okay, you can just replace that word. But that's where we're at. I mean, that ad campaign that we just did there, they can't even replicate that. They can't even find enough paid actors who could, they can't even emote at that level, because everything that you saw in there is absolutely sincere people who've gone through a journey, and you cannot fake that. So that's why, to me, it's an exciting moment in history, because our movement exists. We've put in the work. People on this Zoom here, a bunch of leaders have put in their work. They've gone through amazing journeys to get here. And our goal is to give each one of you that opportunity to go through that journey, if you want to. But we're not going to force you to. But at this moment in history, the American working class has been, one segment has been tranquilized and the other is demoralized. And that was by design. But this movement for truth, freedom, health is here. And it's inspirational. It's powerful. It's based on getting people off the ground. It has an actual plan. It has a recipe. It's not nebulous. Study this, then study this. Go do this. Now do this. Now learn this. No, that's not correct. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, don't tell me that I shouldn't call Booby fucking Kennedy these names. We are very clear. Don't tell me how to fucking talk. I will call them those names, and you should call them those names. We're very cut and dry. You see? I was doing a video with a guy in the Netherlands, and, he's a very nice guy, and he thought he was going to tell me, oh, well, I like your approach, but, Booby Kennedy does say some nice things, and I don't know if you should call him names. I said, what are you talking about? And he wanted to keep the interview going. I said, no, listen, you don't know what you're talking about. Where did you get these ideas to tell me that I shouldn't call him names? Like, who are you to tell me that your methodology is going to work? You see, our movement's going to teach you to expose this nonsense. It's brainwashing. You should call out Kennedy who he is. And I put up something really fucking, people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you said this. Someone put up on the social media, and some of you may find it quite alarming, but it is, I have to do this unfortunate dirty work to break up people's mental brainwashing. And someone put up there, this guy, I'll read it to you. It's funny. Someone said, can someone please let me know what qualifications RFK Jr. holds that might allow him to pass policy on health-related matters? As far as I can tell, he's something of a failed lawyer, grifter, and sycophant. Am I missing something? So this is pretty awful, but everything's true. He got brain worms. He takes testosterone. He sucks Zionist cock. He pushed lockdown saying they do climate change. He's one of the biggest plagiarists. It came out he's banging anti-vax women. He can definitely, he can find a vein to shoot heroin. He'll get women to hang themselves. Let's see what he did to his wife. He'll teach you the benefits of pure nicotine crystals, because that's what he's taking now. After his wife found out he was banging anti-vax women, he believes public integrity is different than personal integrity. He said that. You got to get vaccinated before you come to his home. He wants to stop pampering the Palestinians because he thinks they're the most pampered people on the planet. He's a master getting liberal white women to do whatever for him. He gets everyone to call him Bobby to make him think he's one of them. His real name is Booby. And he does want full vaccination of all Americans. But he's somehow going to get the corrupt CDC to create safe vaccines. So when I put this out, all these trolls, oh, you can't call that. How dare you call Kennedy that? You see, because he's a vile human being. If he were anyone else, you wouldn't allow this guy around your children. You wouldn't allow him into your home. You see what I'm saying? They have brainwashed us to give respect to these people. So our movement says, no, 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 no. Stop it. You stop it. There's no diplomacy here. We will be kind to our people, the hardworking people, not to him. You see, this is a complete freaking rewiring of the brain that we have to do. It's a lot of hard work. People are like, what are you talking about? Kennedy. The Kennedys are a vile human family. I mean, go look at what they did to Marilyn Monroe. She was a victim. Where's the Marilyn Monroe files? Fuck the JFK files. So we have to do this work. We have to make people start having dignity for themselves. We have to give accountability to people. We have to tell people to save themselves. The good news is we're doing it and we're here. And you saw the results. We got on the ground. We got on the ballot as a write-in in Texas. We got on the ballot as a write-in in 36 states. Extraordinary work. We've shown people that you can do this shit. You don't need a lot of money. Less than 75 cents a vote. That's what we spent. They spent $75 a vote. 100 times us. The people who voted for us are freaking educated, smart, not college educated. That's not what I'm talking about. But have a lot of heart, passion. They're reflective people. They've thought things through. We have a community now. You see, what do they have? They have a bunch of tranquilized MAGA-tards sleeping for the next 4 years while Trump screws them. What do we have? We have a vibrant set of people who are thinking, acting, defining, looking into the future, understanding systems. Man, we got a great. It's just a matter of time before, we shatter the swarm over and over again. We're shattering it every day. So it's a great time to be alive if you're in this movement. It'll be a very tranquilized time to be alive if you're with MAGA. It'll be a really demoralized time if your time over there with the Democrats or the quote unquote left, different parts of the world. So I want you guys to feel really jacked up, very happy where we are. Because our movement exists. If it didn't, you should be freaking pretty sad, but you don't have to be. So action steps. You saw Shatter the Swarm. Finish watching that. Go to Truth, Freedom, Health. Become a warrior scholar. We've made it so accessible. And by the way, if you have children, you can give it away to as many children as you want. And then we have all of our solutions. We have the Clean Food Certified seal. We have Systems Health, if you want to proceed on a professional program. We have Cytosolve. We have actual solutions. And then we have our Leadership Training Institute. If you're going through the Warrior program, apply for leadership. There's no charge. We're just looking for really, really good, committed people who want to learn. We have great infrastructure, all volunteer-based. If you have skills, video skills, writing skills, give of yourself. That's where we're at. So I hope this analysis helped you, but the swarm, perfectly executed. Tranquilize people on one side, demoralize people on another side. Right? They kill two birds with one stone. But we're here. It's a big problem for them. Serious, serious problem for them. And we showed what we can do with very little resources and with people power. So I would like to, again, welcome everyone. One part of the evening that we go to is if you guys could, those of you who are new, and I want to thank Sonia for guiding everyone to put after your name, whoever's here, please edit your name and put what part of the world you're from. So for example, Mike Lune says Pennsylvania, Mike over here says Thailand, Sam Winchester says Virginia, Ryan says Texas, because it's very easy because if we find you're in a certain state, we can introduce you to one of the leaders in that state. Because part of the next part here is we want to who you are. Tell us who you are, what part of the country you're from, how you came to us. And we'll go to Q&A later. And at the bottom of the, if you're on your iPhone, you can move the cursor down, you can tap. You'll see a menu bar will come up. One of it says is reactions. And if you click on reactions, it'll show a raise hand button. So those of you who are new, kindly raise your hand. I have a decent memory. I can pick people up, but please raise your hand because we love to hear your stories. Believe it or not, you guys coming new really, really inspire us. Our stuff may inspire you, but believe it or not, hearing from you really gets us very, very excited. But also an opportunity to network with other people. So if you're new, just raise your hand. And so we can introduce you to other people. We have about 111 people on the call. We'll try to keep it brief. There may be people from Trump or Booby Kennedy spying on us too. So if you don't want to introduce yourself, and we typically figure that out, we'll have to put you in the waiting room. But part of the goal is it's just ethical to be transparent and introduce yourself. So if you're new, click on the reactions button and raise your hand, and we'd like to introduce you all. Okay. I know there's other new people. Shyness is not the order of the day. We want you to introduce yourself. So let's go to Barbara Boyd from Maryland. Barbara, how are you? Can you unmute yourself? So I'll ask you to unmute yourself. Barbara Boyd from Maryland.
Hi, Dr. Shiva.
Hi, Barbara. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, so we can know a bit more about you and how you came here. Thank you.
From Maryland. I learned about you about maybe right before the pandemic. I think I was introduced to you by just watching, I think it was Dr. Buddha videos. I know he passed away back in 2023. I just learned that the other day, but I think that's how I got introduced to you. So I've been sitting on the sidelines watching, and so now I want to get involved. I just went on to your website and volunteered today. And so I'm just one of those people, hardworking, just, not liking what's going on. I haven't liked it for a very long time. And, this year I didn't vote for either candidate. And I got a lot of people, getting mad with me about that and saying, you have to vote. And yeah, I'm one of those people that I'm not going to vote for the lesser of two evils. And so I just decided to sit it out. And I've been sitting it out for the last 5 years or so. And so I'm just ready to do something different now. I'm tired of, the way the system is, and I want to learn more about it. I've never really been into politics, and now I want to get involved. So that's my story.
Yeah, Barbara, very nice to have you. I want to introduce you to Sonia Fredericks. We have a guy called Marcus Andreas in that region, but Sonia is, in the South sort of area. So Sonia, can you chat with Barbara and get her information? So Barbara, at the bottom, there's a chat. So Sonia will connect with you and she'll follow up with you. Okay.
Hi, Barbara.
Yeah, Barbara, sorry, you have to unmute yourself again. So Barbara, Sonia Fredericks is our leader down in the South, and she'll contact you shortly.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Very nice to have you, Barbara.
Thank you.
So Barbara, one of the things I want to mention to you is that those in power want to make us not to be political, because the political nonsense that they're doing is not even political. It's just garbage. As I've shared before, Bertolt Brecht, a very interesting artist and thespian, said that the most unfortunate people are the people who do not want to get political, because if you're not political, you have no idea of how the world operates, and they keep you in ignorance.
Right.
So working people, they want to make working people apolitical. They don't want working people to be politicized. So it's very important, but it's important to get the right political education, right? Otherwise, their stuff leads you to nowhere. So it's really good to have you, Barbara.
Right. I agree with that. Yes.
I'm glad you got off the sidelines.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Let's go to Peta Alley from Florida. Peta, how are you? You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. I'm really good. Thank you, Dr. Shiva. And yes, very much like Barbara, I've been on the sidelines much more involved with the spiritual woo-woo world. But I think the day after yesterday was a very, like you said, a very, very quiet day. And you just happened to pop up on my screen this morning, which, you know, when I went through all of your website, had me sobbing for hours because I had found my thing and I had not found it before. But I think that right now is the most amazing time for your movement. It is the most amazing time because there are so many defeated, confused, disappointed people that don't know where the fuck to go. They know that's not it anymore, but they don't know what else to do. And there's, I think, you know, whatever their plans were, it was a gift.
Yeah. So Anna, Peter, where have you been? I mean, what did you see that got you emotionally? Did you see a video? What was it?
No, I don't even know why I gotten an email from you. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I obviously had signed up somewhere ages and ages ago, and I got this email. Oh, it was telling me about tonight. And then I thought, okay, Dr.SHIVA. And I just went through everything on the website and all of the testimonials. And it was just, I mean, you know, and they weren't sad tears. They were very emotional. Holy shit. This is, I mean, and it's like Barbara and you had just discussed, I am not political. I don't want to have anything to do with those assholes. Nothing. Less than nothing. But it's like you said, you know, I don't know anything. I know that the, you know, two wings of the same bird. I've been a conspiracy theorist since what, 2008, that I know all the bullshit that goes on out there. But I was wrapped up in my little angelic cocoon, creating my magical space as best I could. My personal happiness was the greatest gift I was giving the world. And then I thought, okay, well now, you know, when the only way we're going to save ourselves is to get out there and do something. And I'm going to get out there and do something.
Yeah, Peter, it's very interesting because I've shared this before. If you look at the entire health space, right? Religion, spirituality, the new age movement, what you call woo-woo stuff, right? In many ways, that was created around in the post 80s, 90s in the United States. And it attracted a lot of people who would go off to new age retreats and ashrams and do cleanses and detox and da-da-da. I mean, a whole range of things, right?
Yeah.
And many of those people had some inkling in them that something wasn't right, but they didn't know what, right? They didn't have the tools. So they would either get suckered into going to Burning Man, to go to watch Deepak Chopra, to go on a mountain and meditate, right? It was almost an escape. It was like, okay, I'm just going to take care of myself. That's it, right?
No, absolutely. There is also, in the not so obvious people, there are a bajillion psychics out there who are still touting Trump as the savior. You know,
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, right.
They know.
So in the religious tradition, this is done, and like in India, in the world of India, people would tell people, "Don't worry, you know, just do this. Your lot in life is this." So they created these idea of karma, or one day, you don't have to do anything. You just have to do this, and you're saved, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they made it so people didn't have to do anything on their own. You outsourced your soul's journey to somebody else. And this was done in a very deliberate way. So people, and the New Age movement did this. And you found some of the most selfish people in the New Age movement.
No, you do. You absolutely do.
Yeah. So, and the reason that this took place is because the philosophy was not grounded in anything that was materially real that people could get grounded in. And what we have now with our movement is looking at engineering system science, linked it with ancient systems of yoga, believe it or not, and we've created a bridge which is very grounding. So you can't bullshit your way out of it. So it's really good to have you. And I hope as you go through this, like the leaders here, you'll be able to articulate this better, integrate it, and really be able to bring a lot of those other
Those other people. That's exactly right. I mean, I also believe that this is absolute divine timing for your movement, for our movement.
Definitely.
But it's absolute, exactly as it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And the reality is they know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why they
do.
have to expend so much energy. I believe they've spent so much energy making us invisible. They have to deliberately do this. No, don't mention his name. Don't retweet him. Don't.
I mean, if you weren't a threat, why not?
Yeah, it's not like we're such a threat. Normally they character assassinate you. They don't even want to do that. They just want to make you invisible. So, which is fine. But what's really important, Peter, is people like you now who've been sitting there, Barbara Boyd sitting there on the sidelines. They're going to start coming.
No, there's going to be millions of them.
Millions. And that's why we're very deliberate in laying out this infrastructure of leaders, because I can't do it on my own. We need other people to train other people. So Marianne Barry understands these concepts in Arizona. She's going to be able to train people, right? And keep people on the straight and narrow, right? But it's really good to have you, Peter. So I want to introduce you to Sonia, can you make sure PETA is connected with Marianne Barry in Arizona, okay? Marianne, if you can connect with PETA through the chat right now and get her information, and then you both introduce her to Andrew Rice, who's in Florida, okay?
Yes, great.
Okay. So Sonia, if you can make sure, if you can, there's a chat. So right now we're going to connect all you guys up because we have a great group of people in Florida, but I think you and Marianne should also connect, okay?
All right, sir. Thank you. I so appreciate you.
Yep, thank you. I'm glad you're here. Let's go over to Karen West from Palm Beach, Florida. So again, Marianne, I'm going to make you co-host.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, actually someone else. Sonia, if you can connect with Karen and also connect her to Marianne.
Okay.
Karen West, how are you? You're in Florida too.
Oh yeah, it's West Palm Beach. That's not my last name. It's Karen from West Palm Beach.
Oh, West Palm
Florida.
Beach. Okay.
Yeah.
But by the way, 1 second. Can Leslie Swan and Ryan McFarland edit your name and put us where you're from in your name? So it'll help us, like Texas, Florida. Go ahead, Karen. Tell us a little bit about your journey here.
So I just want to say I voted for you. I wrote your name in on Tuesday. And I have been watching your videos for a couple years now, but I guess I just never thought of joining. And then I got an email the other day or text or something with your name on it, and I said, well, today's the day that I'm gonna join. So I watched all the videos. Did the whole, get off the plantation. I watched all those videos.
Oh, awesome.
Thought it was amazing. I resonated with everything you said, and I'm really anxious to join and get involved and get started. And I would like to, hook up with someone in my area.
Yeah, so we have a number of people in Florida. I think Andrew's not here, so I wanted Sonia in the chat. Sonia will connect with you. Sonia, if you can show her how to sign up as a warrior and connect her with Andrew, that'd be great. Can you do that, Sonia?
Yes.
Okay. So look in the chat. Sonia will directly communicate with you. Karen, and what do you do down in Florida?
I'm a psychiatric nurse.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yep.
We have a huge nursing community in our movement, believe it or not.
Really?
A lot of nurses.
Okay, great.
Lots and lots of nurses.
Well, I'm extremely lonely over here as the weird conspiracy theorist. Every day somebody's calling me a weirdo. There's no one to talk to. Like, I'm extremely lonely.
There's a huge community there.
Yeah.
Sonia, if you can hook her up with Andrew, okay? And Andrew will connect you, okay?
That'd be great.
Yep. Yes. Well, it's good to have you go through the program, Truth, Freedom, Health. Thank you, Karen.
I will.
Yep. Let's go over to, we have, I just saw, we just missed, who was just here? The woman from Connecticut.
Where'd I go?
Can someone unmute her? I think, where did she go? Can you raise your hand again? The person from Connecticut? Oh, there you are, Leslie. Hi, Leslie. I don't know if Eric is here from Connecticut. Leslie?
Hello.
Hi, how
Can
are
you
you?
hear me?
Yep,
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I work in IT. I'm I've been doing yoga for about 25 years or so. I'm in the middle of a Kundalini yoga teacher training right now. I got involved early. I want to say it's even before COVID, but maybe right after. I was moderating a group called hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin access now, and we were heavily censored. So I caught on to all this very early on. Also spoke out against what was happening in Sandy Hook, which was the town next door to where I live. And I got tired of speaking out, to be honest, because I wasn't able to change any minds. I lost a lot of friends, and I've kind of been silenced and tranquilized. Now I'm pretty active with the Connecticut Residents Against Mask Mandates and Residents for Responsible Citizens. They're all like celebrating the Trump victory, and I can't get excited about it. I got excited about you because I believe I've been talking about everything that you've been talking about as well for a long time. Nobody listens. But I heard about you from your Mike Adams interview. Gotta be honest. When I heard your first one interview years ago, couldn't remember your name. Went to a Trump rally, saw the Ramaswamy bus, and like, wait, that's him. I know he was like he was from Massachusetts and had an Indian name, but that didn't seem right to me either. And I knew it wasn't you, and it took me a while to actually find you again. So
Yeah, that was by design. They pulled that idiot, Vivek the Snake, and they had to find a brown skinned guy. And this is all very deliberate. It's all psychological operations that they did. And he's a complete big pharma Brahmin bullshitter, just makes up shit. And so what I want to introduce you to Rose Cius. Rose helped, organize sort of New Jersey, and Delia took over New York, but she was helping with Connecticut and Rhode Island. Rose, so Leslie, you should go through the warrior training program because you have a lot of good instinct, and this is a hard thing, but I think you can overcome it. We find a lot of people come from other movements, and sometimes they're unable to just sort of sit in a deliberate way and go through the training because you'll get a lot of very powerful knowledge. It'll put pieces together, but you have to be disciplined to go through that. So Rose will help you through that to go through the warrior training program. She'll also hook you up with another one of our leaders there, Eric in Connecticut. Okay, Eric's right there.
Oh, great.
We have a number of people in Connecticut, a really husband and wife team, a dentist, Zach, who came up here. He's a great guy, but our goal is, as we expand our movement, is to do it very deliberately. We want to find really, really good people who want to learn and who want to grow. You can't build it on sort of swamp. So Rose, if you can connect with Leslie and hook her up with Eric, but it's good to have you, Leslie. But I hope you go through the training and you'll learn a lot. It'll really, really strengthen you. Thank you. Thanks for
absolutely. Thank you.
Let's go over to Ray McFarland. Ray, where are you from, Ray?
Hi, I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Oh, great. Let me see if Gerald is here. But go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I tried to edit my profile name, but I haven't signed into this account for 4 years, so I got to do a deep dive. Anyway.
Okay.
So personally, I am a social justice activist. I've been doing this for a couple years in different ways, still growing. 32-year-old white man who's just trying to use this skin for something good for once in the world. I know I'm not alone in that. But I essentially try to lift up and raise my voice for all the marginalized of society. I also want to say I really appreciate what you're doing here, and it's an honor to meet you and speak to you right now, and to everyone else. Yesterday is when I found out about you. Didn't know who you were until Mike Luna came up to me yesterday while I was doing some of my protest activism. He did an incredible job at representing you. I get stopped by so many people trying to convert me to their religions, try to talk to me about anything. But he was the only person that I've ever let speak and to share his piece about you and all that. And it was a privilege to meet him. And I hope to meet more like-minded. This is a great session as well. I'm looking forward to learning more about you, but also supporting. And I guess for my own, because I'm an activist and I really love what you're talking about, I fully believe in what you're saying. Like, it's been a long journey and I'm so glad to have found you. But in order for me, I would love to support you and do the whole educational stuff, all that. But for me, like, you represent everybody, right? Like all the marginalized, all the people, like you don't exclude groups, if that makes sense. I don't know.
No. Yeah. So I just want to first of all, thanks, Ray. I see Mike here. Mike, are you here? Can you unmute Mike Luna?
I'm here, Dr. Shiva.
Yeah. So Mike, can you just tell us what you shared with Ray? Because Ray says he gets hit by all these people. I'm just curious what you guys spoke about. Yeah.
I've been active. I've been doing some activist work for you for about a year and a half now, and I've been closely knitted with Gerald. And I've been wanting to just be the foot warrior behind the scenes that does the work, and really didn't want the recognition of most scholars. But not even just protesting Kamala Harris's rally in Philadelphia when she brought Oprah up, but I have all of your memorabilia. I have flag. I have a bullhorn with your Shiva for President stickers on it, and you're embedded in my mind to the point where every experience that I have, whether I'm putting business cards in between cereal boxes at the grocery store, or I am being discharged from a place of employment because they tell me I need to stop talking about politics and I just can't. I seen this gentleman 2 days ago on my way to my employment, and he had the flag, the American flag, upside down. And it didn't hit me at first, but then when I rode by him today, I keep your flyers in my car. I have half a box of business cards left. And I decided to speak to him in regards to what it was that he was doing. But as I do all the time, left and right is only designed to separate us from each other. And as long as we're separated from each other, we'll never unite and come together and go against them. And I'm constantly exposing the elites. I'm constantly, trying to put in perspective what it is that we're missing, all in regards to being a shadow and resemblance to you, Dr. Shiva. And this gentleman not only was open to what it was that this beautiful flyer explains, but to know that all of them are the same in regards to our life expectancy being on a decline, wages staying flat, taxes and prices are going up. It's not hard to capture the spirit and mind and heart of an individual who knows something is wrong, especially with our political system, in regards to all of it being a lie. So this gentleman, we sat down that corner and talked for about half an hour to 40 minutes while MAGA tarts are screaming, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. Why I call them the dizzy Democrats, because majority of, I'm in Pennsylvania, and it's a swing where, I was in the restaurant business where I met with a lot of customers by serving tables and bartending, where I would constantly write all of the websites on this card. I can't do it on this one because there's like a shiny coating on it, this card here, but this card here, the original Dr. Shiva for President card, is not a shiny, it doesn't have a shiny coating on it. I would write all of your websites on the card and pass it to my constituents or customers. And now what I'm doing is I'm doing door-to-door solar panel sales, where I'm taking people off the current electric grid and wanting to save the environment by letting them go solar. And I'm constantly sticking these cards in people's cars. So even after the election, I could care less. And I tell people, they always try to defer. Well, he can't be president. And I'm like, well, does the Constitution define natural born? And they always get stumped. And I'm like, you have no clue what you're doing. And for me to be on a front runner of not even just you on a Freedom Warrior tip, having Gerald, who provided me with the cards despite having some financial difficulties. This gentleman here is just so honored to be in front of some clarity and some vision now. And I'm honored to be a part of it, Dr. Shiva, and we're going to take this by storm. And whether you can win the chair or not, you're my president regardless, brother. You've done more for my spiritual consciousness. You've done more for my mindset. And unfortunately, I've lost some people along the way, because it's not about a Democrat or Republican. It's about morals and ethics that these individuals they voting for stand for. And I can't deal with that. So blocking people and unfriending people on Facebook, and even my immediate family that stand for Zionism and don't want the information that you're presenting, I can't live with that. So it's either you are or you're not. And it's a spiritual thing. And most people can't connect because they're soulless. They've already sold their soul, or they're that far gone that they can't come back. And this gentleman just was open. His spirit was open, and we connected. We've been talking for the past 2 days. And now that he's here, this is the perfect time, now that the election is over, to fly with your curriculum, fly with our flyers. And Truth, Freedom, and Health is coming. And whether you can win or not, we're winning, because you're exposing evil every day, Dr. Shiva. You're my idol, and I love you, man.
Mike, first of all, you're very articulate. The reason I wanted everyone to hear that is because it's hard for people to articulate this, and you speak with a real street smartness, you know? And
been through a lot, brother.
You've taken so I just want to let everyone know the knowledge that Mike has learned is stuff that I used to teach at MIT. But this knowledge is accessible to everyone, and that's what we've done here. Mike, you should connect with Sonia and make sure Gerald gets you into the leadership program. Okay. So please get involved in that. Okay.
Okay.
And so apply for that and get involved. So Ray, what I want to let you know is that the left in the United States, the quote unquote left, just like the quote unquote right, activists have deliberately been misled, because they were just given little pieces of what it means to be political. They weren't given any core political theory. You see what I'm saying? Grounded in any science, because first of all, the science didn't exist until the 1920s. So like you, I've been a ground activist since I was a 17-year-old kid. But for me, once you understand the theory, it moves way beyond left and right. So for example, the issue of racism. The right denies racism exists. So the left takes on that vacuum to talk about racism, but they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They just talk about a very surface level of racism. They never connect racism to, it's just an arm of the class issues. It's an arm of the larger issues of exploitation of all people, you see? So our movement goes deep into these issues, and it takes it beyond left and right. So someone like you, who's been an activist on the ground, if you just sort of step back, clean the slate clean, and you go through the training, you're gonna come out of it on the other side as a much stronger activist with a much deeper sense of a theoretical groundedness. That's what's needed. Without the right theory, there will be no revolutionary movement, you see? Because people will constantly make mistakes strategically and tactically. So it's really good to have you. Are you in Pennsylvania, Ray?
Yeah, I'm in right outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, so you have Mike there. So Mike, please go through apply for the leadership program, okay? Tell Gerald I said that you would be good for that.
Well, Gerald knows that. Me and Gerald been doing a lot of work together, and Gerald knows that, you know, he's been providing me with a shit ton of cards. I think I passed out about 13,000.
Yeah, that's great. But I'm saying I think it would be great for you to go through the leadership program. But in Pennsylvania Pennsylvania, they make it a quote unquote a swing state. It is where working people are, right? It has a rich history of revolutionary movements. So what they do is they always go to states like that and they divide people up left and right, left and right. That's why all the swing states, if you look at them, like Ohio used to be a swing state, right? All these swing states are some of the most devastated states, so they have to make them left and right. So it's really important that we have really, really good people there who understand theory. So Ray, it's good to have you go through the Warrior Training Program, connect with Mike and Gerald. But it's very nice to have you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks. Let's go over to Asha Edmund from Singapore. Asha Edmund, can you unmute yourself and then we'll go to Art? And we want to make
Hi, Dr. Steve. I was here last week, but I raised my hand to say hello. So I'm not sure if I'm new. I think I'm
Oh,
new.
good.
Yeah.
Have you met Cornelius in Singapore?
No, I haven't. But it's okay. I understand that it takes time. So
Well, let me have Sonia. Sonia, can you connect up? If you can get Asha's information, connect. So Cornelius is our leader there. He's a IT systems architect. He's in Singapore, but you and him should connect.
okay, great. I
What
like
do you
that.
do?
Yeah.
Asha, just remind me, what do you do out there?
I'm a singer, unfortunately.
You're what?
I'm a singer.
Oh, singer. Oh, okay. Why is that unfortunate? It sounds great.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Well, I sing, I write, and I act. So that's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah, very much
Well,
into
good.
the art.
Well, go through the warrior training. You can be like, there are, someone great said that art is ultimately a movement of its time, real art.
I believe that, yes. It's just that, here it's in this time where you have so much of the artists not doing that.
Right.
It's disappointing, you feel a bit alone. Yeah.
Well, maybe
So
you
that's
can
where I'm
be,
at.
maybe you can be one of those revolutionary artists where you can take some of this knowledge and you can bring it in a different medium. You say?
I like that. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
we
you
have
for
a whole
telling me.
we have a whole media team. Maybe there's cool ways that you can take some of this knowledge and help us. You saw the little videos we're doing, but you may be able to bring a whole nother artistic flavor to it and use your talents in different ways. Because typically the artist typically gets exploited and brought into a realm. I wrote a book called Arts and the Internet back in 1993 because I, do a lot of work on the visual side, and a lot of my friends are artists, and typically art has been, completely exploited, that it really doesn't evoke what's going on at a time. It's like crap, most of the art, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have an opportunity. I would really, really encourage you. Sonia will connect you, but go through the program because it'll awaken your consciousness, that I will put it in writing, that your art will even get better. Your writing will get better. You'll be probably
like
even
that.
more inspired. Yeah. And
Yeah.
this movement needs great artists too, to come in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just a world. I do my own thing, and I keep away from the mainstream stuff. But
yeah,
it's just, to me, it's just filled with narcissists and attention seekers,
Big
and that's
time.
not what art is to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at the history of art, you probably know who Bertolt Brecht is, right?
Yes.
If so, Brecht was one of the first people who, theater ultimately was supposed to be a way to communicate with people. Shakespeare would use theater to make fun of the elites of the time. People didn't know that, right? But theater and art was supposed to be revolutionary by its nature. And so they blunted the artists and made them all crackpots like Kanye West and all these nut jobs, right? So that's what art has become. But there was a moment in history in the 1900s, in the late 1800s, where art was truly art. The artists was doing their noble duty. So I would really encourage you, go through the program, connect with Cornelius, and you could probably, maybe, I don't know what'll emerge, but I do know that your art will get better. I'll put my money on it. Okay.
I'm sure it will. That's what it's about. It's about evolving in every way. So yeah.
Well, good to have you,
I know that.
Asha. So homework assignment.
Yeah, thank you.
Sonia will chat with you right now. And connect you up with Cornelius.
Yes, I think she sent me a message. So yeah.
Sonia, got it?
Thank you,
Shiva,
Dr. Shiva.
can I just interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
Does everyone know how to use the chat? I've sent several people messages and I'm not.
Yeah, so everyone, you're getting messages. So on the chat, please communicate with Sonia right back, because if you go to the chat, it'll say to or from, and you'll see messages coming, and you can write back to Sonia. Everyone got that? Part of one of the things we want to do is take this time to connect you up. So please take advantage of the emails that Sonia is sending you. Sonia, if you can just make a name of those list of names, and you can also get it from Manju later. Okay?
Thank you.
Yep. All right, let's go to Art from New Holland. Art, go ahead. Art, are you from Holland?
I'm Arthur from Holland.
Oh, hi, Arthur. How are you?
Great, and it's great to meet you. And I'm really enthusiastic about this grassroots movement. And
well, tell us a little bit about yourself. And Sonia will also introduce you to Karel Bekvar. He's right in Holland. Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah, so he's our leader there. He's a great guy. He actually has a physical building where he has, a lot of our stuff, and you can meet with him there. But go ahead, Art.
So I was, I'm a member of the People of the East. It is a movement in the Netherlands, an autonomy movement. And it is, we're fighting for a lot of the same values you're promoting, and the movement is promoting. In the Netherlands, the Secret Service is fighting anti-institutional extremism, and it is kind of what we're doing, being aware of what's happening in the Netherlands, and protesting against the war and against all the criminal activities of the government. I was 3 days ago, I was on a coffee meeting with some like-minded people. And the lady next to me, she said, hey, you have to watch Willem, because he interviewed Shiva, and they were quarreling, and they were kind of speaking through each other, and they were not agreeing with each other. It was very nice. So I looked Willem's video with you, and I really like your approach, and I really think that the crooks have to be called crooks, because the movement of Willem, he is really telling we are the good guys, we are the civilized guys, so we have to stay civilized, and that's why he doesn't want to call crooks by their names. So I looked up
so Art, just to let people know, now I remember. Yeah, so his name is Willem Engel. By the way, Bekvar is here. Karel is here. Karel is in the Netherlands. So Karel will connect with you. Karel, can you kindly say hello to Art? And Karel, Sonia, if you can get Art, look in your chat, because we want to.
Yeah, of course.
Connect.
Yeah.
But so everyone listening, there were what Art is talking about is I was put on an interview with a guy in the Netherlands called Willem Engel. And if you watch the interview goes on, and I didn't fully know who he was. And at a certain point, he says, Kennedy says a lot of good things, and I don't know why you're saying negative against him. And that's when you get to a point in the development and the maturity of yourself that you do not want to let people get away with that kind of shit. So I wouldn't let him go with this, because this is precisely why they're suffering in the world, is because the so-called activists blunt the edge of revolutionary movements by letting these people get away. Kennedy should be called by the most vile names. And I said, why do you think he should not be called names? I said, why are you being so diplomatic? If you looked at his face, Art, by the end of that interview, there was something that changed in him. He realized that what he was saying was just nonsense. You could see it like it was just robotic. So there are a lot of activists who say stuff, they don't even know what the fuck they're saying. They don't even have the reason to make these theoretical statements. Don't be negative. Don't say this. Don't. It's like, what are you saying? You're not saying anything. Kennedy is an absolute devil, and you should use the most vile words, and you have to use the right words, the right curse words at the right time. And you're doing that not because you enjoy doing it, because it must be done, because you're breaking people from this mindless, hypnotism that these people are somebody. They're not. So, but it also reveals in that case, Art, a deeper problem politically with him, because politically he has not matured, or he is purposely wanting to please people. And movements are not going to grow by not breaking people away. Sometimes you have to slap the shit out of people to break them away, bring them kicking and screaming. And it takes a lot more effort because it's easier for a lot of these activists. I mean, he's trying to please people. Pleasing people has never changed anything. It has made things worse. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting interview, because I realized, wait a minute, you can't let this guy, because he said he was political. So if someone's political and they have influence, those are the people, they're not like unconscious people. And by the way, we also have Jeffrey Biliato here. Jeffrey's also in the Netherlands. Karel, do you want to say hello?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, Dr. Shiva. And hello, Art. Great to connect. Indeed, Dr. Shiva, you nailed it. I saw the interview with Willem de Engel, and this is exactly what I felt about it. It took me also some time to get out of this learned programming that we should call everybody in a decent way. But the level of corruption, spiritual corruption we are dealing with, you have to use scientific terms. And saying about booby fucking Kennedy, these names.
Booby fucking Kennedy is a scientific term.
Yeah,
It really
exactly.
is.
It's a scientific term, yeah.
Yeah, Bobby is a vile term, because that's like making you think he's your fucking friend. He's not your friend. All these women calling him Bobby. Why is he fucking Bobby? When did he become Bobby? Like, this is fucked up shit. Programming people to call him Bobby. It's moron. It's like programming because you're trying to associate him with his father who got killed and he was a nice man. Just nonsense. It's like that one word Bobby is programming. It's such hypnotic programming. You have to call him Booby fucking Kennedy to break from that hypnosis. So it's a scientific term. Thanks, Pharrell.
Yes, you're welcome. So I have posted to Sonia my mobile number. If she can forward it to Art, we will connect today.
Yeah, so Sonia, can you do that?
Amazing. Yeah, I have seen it already in the chat.
Yeah, so Art, get involved. I really recommend you and Karel connect. You have to go through this training. It's a knowledge base that heretofore has not existed. It teaches really people from a system standpoint. So you get a real ground.
Yeah,
Great to have you, Art.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shiva.
Yeah, great to have you.
We're going to find ways to implement it here in the Netherlands.
Yeah, well, you got Karel there. You have Jeffrey Biliato there. We have really, really good people there. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
And we have a great printer who can get us the card for the same price like United States. So let's get them to the people.
Yeah, and we have them in all different languages too. By the way, to Karel's point, it's getting a little bit late, but let me just before I leave, if everyone goes to vashiva.com/cards, we've open sourced this also. But let me just take you there on the Zoom. But if you go right here, oh, here we are. Okay, if you go right here, we have these cards, vashiva.com/cards. Sonia, maybe you can chat it to everyone. But we have the cards in all different languages, okay? Spanish, the Indian languages, the Scandinavian languages, French. I think we have it in Dutch, right? So, Karel, if you don't have it in Dutch, get it to us so we can put it up online, okay? Hungarian, Japanese, Korean. This is a global movement. The message is the same. Lifespan is going down and cost of living is going up. Go shatter the swarm. So thanks, Carell. Good to have you. And
Thank you
please
too.
connect. Okay, let's finish up. By the way, we want to introduce new people. Michael Riley. Michael said he wants to be introduced people in California. We got a huge California contingent, Michael, but go ahead, introduce yourself.
Okay. I started off studying psychological operations back in the VCR era with the Schiller Institute, which is part of the LaRouche organization. And two of the best lectures I've ever attended are still dating back to that era. One was given by Webster Tarpley on the deconstructionist movement, which we call postmodernism, and the other one was on 9/11. From there, I started following William Cooper, Bill Cooper, and Fritz Springmeier, Jeff Rentz, Jordan Maxwell, and David Icke. It all kind of came to a conclusion some years ago when I met a Stanford attorney who wanted me to intern to study the psychological operations that were used and employed in the antebellum South to dupe that population into fighting and dying for slavery. And it was a really interesting operation that I got involved in because they twisted it. Instead of taking the issue of slavery, they moved it to states' rights, see? And that was a bogus argument from the beginning. But if you look back, it motivated people beyond your wildest dreams. And people back then couldn't believe that slavery could be a non-racial thing. And so anyway, I started working in that area, and then I was hired to do a similar operation with vaccines. My background is in biochemistry and medicine, and I did work in San Francisco developing the aerosolized version of pentamidine for pneumocystis and AIDS, which was very successful because the drug was used as an intravenous drug, which caused acute pancreatitis and was actually quite fatal. But if you inhaled it, it was virtually non-toxic. Well, anyway, back in about 2014, I was introduced to a very prominent family in South Africa who wanted me to deconstruct this vaccine psychological operation. And I started working using the model in California, which was SB 277. What I found out there was a very interesting story. And what they did was the psychological op was to dupe people into not arguing about the core issue, which was civil rights. It's a civil rights issue. But instead, they engaged the people into this emotional cycle of argumentative science. And as I pointed out in my report, if you're going to get into a conflict where the debate is over an argumentative scientific thing, then you must first have.
So Michael,
you must have authority.
Yeah. So I think I know where you're headed. Maybe you can, just for the interest of time, just sort of tell us how you got here, because I want to connect you with Marianne Barry, because Jill Jones, who's from California, is not here, our leader there. But go ahead. You can just.
Well, I got interested in you during your Senate campaign against Elizabeth Warren, and then that kind of faded away. And then I don't know. I think I just was curious to see what you were doing, and then I discovered your presidential campaign, and that I've watched practically every video that you've published, sometimes 2 or 3 times, and the message is excellent.
What's interesting with the vaccine stuff is when in 2019, my position was it's not an emotional thing. It's not vax versus anti-vax. It's more the issue of the resilience of the immune system. You know, we took it to a much deeper platform. And that's where they brought in Kennedy. Kennedy's a big he's total fucking CIA, you know? His job is to manipulate people, to speak with such forked tongue. People are so goddamn confused with what the hell he's actually saying. You know, I want.
Yeah, but see, they destroyed him because they didn't. To win that debate, if you're going to engage in an argumentative debate, you must have superior authority. That's a caveat. It's a given. It's axiomatic. If you don't have it, you're just not going to win because even your science could be better than theirs, but it's a battle over authority. So look at it this way. In California, we had a group of pediatricians and community activists and anti-vaxxers against the FDA, the CDC, the NIH, the NIAID, academia. I mean, come on. They had the upper hand in authority, but they duped those people into that scientific argument when it was a civil rights argument. And the way you dismiss that, and I've been in countless debates on the issue, is you say, okay, so you say vaccines are safe. Regardless is the word you use. Regardless, I'm not taking it. Ask any parent how that works. A parent has an authority over the child. They use the word regardless to manifest that authority.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I think the entire position we took all over it was always a civil rights issue, you say? And we taught people how to fight these mandates and win a bunch of them. But anyway, what I want to do, Michael, in the interest of time, is I want to connect you with Marianne Barry. Marianne, if you can connect with Michael, so Michael gets connected with Joe Jones.
Sure.
Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right. It looks like we have someone by the name of F.A. Are you new, F.A.? We want to finish up with new people.
Hi, Dr. Shiva. Do you hear me?
Yes. So Fadi, we're finishing up with new people. Thanks. Joanne, you've been here before, right?
She's from Arizona.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Joanne, is it a question or I just want to make sure we got all the new people, okay?
That's okay.
All right. So before we sign off, I just want to welcome everyone. It's, post-election time. And if you look at the range of people that have come here, it's people from alternative medicine, woo-woo medicine, people from the Netherlands, people who've been sitting on the sidelines. So as we go into this next phase, I'm telling you, there's going to be so many people coming to this movement, and the quality of those people is going to be at a very, very high maturity level. The people who are at the sort of a very low state of consciousness are basically going off to their world thinking Trump's going to take care of everything. And that's why the title of today's talk, if Trey can put that up again, was, Trump has tranquilized MAGA and Kamala has destroyed demoralized the Democrats. And that was a purpose. Going back to that first commandment that I said the elites have is to make sure that we don't build bottoms-up movements. But that was all based on thinking that they would just use the not so obvious establishment to manipulate people. They never thought that a real bottoms-up movement with theory, with infrastructure, with knowledge, with leadership, with organizational structure would emerge. That's what they were been banking on since 1920. Well, they fucking lost that game. Okay, we exist. And we're going to explosively grow this with very, very good quality people. So part of that journey is for those of you who are new, go through the Warrior Training Program. Sonia is texting you. Pick up her text so you can connect with people. Number two, those people who are in the movement, some of them we articulated, please, I invite you to get involved in the leadership program. Rose, do you want to share some numbers, or do you have any numbers you want to share with us, or no? Do you want me to do it at a different time? I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, I'm ready.
Okay. Do you want to share your screen then, Rose? Because Rose has put together the estimate of how many votes we got. Go ahead, Rose.
Okay, let's see if I can share.
Yep.
I'm not sure how to do that.
Under
more, share.
Yeah, you just on the bottom hit share screen.
This is host disabled participating.
Okay. Yeah, let me see. You know what you can do, Rose? If you can email me what you have, is it a Google document? I can bring it up. Just email it to me. Okay. All right. If you can email that. If not, we can do it another time. Let's go to Matt. Morovich. Matt, how are you? Wisconsin.
Good evening, Dr. Shiva. Glad to speak with you. It's been great not being emotionally attached to this whole process. I spent the day after Election Day with two people from the Trump camp, and I ended my day texting my sister, who is bleeding heart liberal, and noticed what you're talking about, how the Trumpers are pacified. And the left, I didn't go with traumatized, but that's exactly what I see as well, where I was actually called privileged by a liberal who has spent the last 10 months not working and has a very cush PA job and, lives in a $500,000 house. So that was an unhinged liberal. So demoralized, I think.
Who was that? You're saying your sister?
That's right. So I'm very concerned with where that part of our country is at. And I think that we have the ability to bring them to our movement a lot easier now than before.
Yes.
And so I want to, for sake of time, I just wanted to ask. So I've been working on, trying to go through the systems diagram of the election being the goal of the election being dividing us. So maybe could you walk us through that diagram with the election?
I could maybe do a video with the Matt, but if you think about it, the purpose, if you go back to that first core goal, the purpose of everything that the elites do is to make sure we don't build a bottoms-up movement. So the elections are set up to make sure that people don't build these bottoms-up movements. That's a goal, right? To make sure that they consolidate power, profit, control. So that's a goal. And that's what they achieved, or for a finite set of people. Matt, are you there? Did we lose you?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Matt. Oh, there you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that was a goal, Matt. So the goal is to make sure that people are disarmed and they don't build these bottoms-up movements. So the way they achieve that is the inputs that they put out into the system out there. A decision was made that we must build around or give the illusion on the Trump side that we're going to take care of everything for you. So they just looked at every sector, all the shit we brought up, Matt. Election,
that was
integrity.
I like how you did that.
Right.
Everybody, they covered all the bases with their NSOE people.
Every single one of them. So they input. Oh, it's like they created the Baskin Robbins flavor. Oh, vaccines. We got our guy for that. Just go to see him, and then he'll tell you his shit. Oh, you want about anti-war? Oh, we got Tulsi Gabbard here. She's the anti-war expert, right? So they just literally went. Oh, you want to talk about someone who's going to be concerned about fighting the woke crowd, this other fool, Vivek Ramaswamy, right? So they literally set up each group and they projected them. So everyone says, see, we got a solutions portfolio here, but they're not going to do anything. If anything, the outcome of that, which is a goal, is to make people say, oh, they got everything under control. And they're going to see their sensors, or they're going to see, oh, how many MAGA people are now even fighting online? Nobody. They're going to praise Elon. They're going to praise Booby fucking Kennedy. They're going to start defending these fools. So that's why I went so hard.
How can people not see through Trump having so many campaign promises? I mean, there's mainly three that we focused on that we could really stump people with. He didn't lock up Hillary. He didn't build a wall. He didn't drain the swamp. And it's pretty simple to see through him based on those 3 points. But now there's so many different promises that he made. It's going to be a lot easier to catch people this time. Like, really? Did he do this? I mean, I think.
But Matt, not only that, because of all the hammering we did if you look at when Trump posts shit now, people literally use our stuff and attack him. So we have a much bigger portfolio of people to go to. And now among the quote unquote left, the left also got screwed by the BLM people, by the woke people, right? Thinking they're fighting racism. But there is a significant portion of the quote unquote left that are really intelligent people who are actually coming to our feeds. And if you see, they're saying they're actually coming from the left and they're saying, wait a minute, this guy's actually telling us the truth. So you're absolutely right. There's going to be people from the left.
They're floundering, but they're coming. Gotta welcome them. We have to welcome, we have to be gentle with them.
but we have to
Their
make
minds
sure
are founded.
we have to make sure they go and study. You see, they're going to come with their
Your new cards are really on point, and I think they're going to go a long way with these people.
Yep.
Definitely easier without the election process. So thank you again, Dr. Shiva.
Yeah, Matt, thanks
Have a
for
good
that
night.
observation. Thanks for that observation. So again, to Matt's point, I see Matt on social media, is that we have a huge opportunity right now. And we've worked very hard to create this infrastructure. So someone coming to our movement now, they're going to have, in some, I don't want to say luxury, but they're going to be able to benefit from all this infrastructure. And it's going to save them a lot of time. Okay, let's finish up very briefly. I'm going to ask each one of you to just ask your questions, Georgia, Fadi, and Joanne, and then just a quick, if you have long drawn out comments, I'm going to have to cut you off just in the interest of time, but question, and then I'm going to move to each one, and then I'll try to answer them in one shot. Joanne, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. It was just a comment that right now I have the demoralized and tranquilized walking into my office. So I look at that as an opportunity to build momentum for the movement. So inviting them.
So Joanne, give them Shatter the Swarm.
Yes, absolutely.
Bring them to the orientation. That's what you can give. That's the best food that you can give them. Thanks, Joanne. Let's go over to Fadi. Again, brief question, Fadi. If you go off and you talk long, I'm going to have to cut you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Dr. Shiva. Always a pleasure, as I always say. I have a theory. If Trump may have, I'll choose my words carefully. If Trump may have faked these shootings, he may fake his death. And in that scenario, I would like to propose that you ready yourself, you put yourself in position to capitalize on that.
Yeah, it's all irrelevant. Okay, it doesn't matter what they do. Look, the thing is, you can have all these theories. They're going to do this. We're going to do this. The bottom line is, let's focus. Focus is study. Let's get out on the ground. They could do all sorts of shit. Okay, he's already done, quote unquote. You know, we've seen these quote unquote assassinations. Everything he has done, it's irrelevant what he does. The relevant thing was, independent of what they did, we got on the ground, we got on signatures, we got on the ballot, we went and did it, and we just keep moving forward. If you try to do stuff based on what they're going to do, you're playing in a world that you're always going to win, because they're going to be controlling the directionality. We have a very forward-looking goal, which is we're building a bottoms-up independent movement for working people. And in order to do that, we have to find people who want to learn, we have to support them, and we have to engage them, and we have to put them on that path, period. Everything else is a distraction. Go ahead, Bosin.
I just wanted to let Rose know I gave her co-host if that was the issue, which she was trying to share the votes or something.
Yeah. Rose, can you share it right now? Bosin, maybe if Rose sends it to you, you can do it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thanks. All right, everyone. If Rose can't do it, we'll do it. I'll do a video on it and we'll do it. But we literally have estimates of the number of votes that we got, and it's pretty compelling what we did with such little resources and time. But perhaps I'll do a video.
Basically like 255,000 votes between the write-in and actual your name. So that's quite impressive.
Yeah. So we did that, again, being having to fight police to get on the ballot, having to file lawsuits, right? Being denied ballot access is quite extraordinary. So I want to encourage everyone here to get involved. Know that you have a community. Don't sit on the sidelines. And as Matt said, those cards are very powerful cards. There's a lot of people out there who are sitting on the sidelines, and they're going to come out now. And so we need more leaders, more strong people. People can articulate stuff. So it's going to be as we move into 2025, it's going to be a pretty good opportunity for all of us to grow. What I want to do is I want to just, before I sign off, I think I have this. Yeah. I want to play one last video, that one of those compilation videos that we did. I don't know, Boston, do you have access to that? But I want to end with this. If we have it, I think, let me find it right here. But if you go to our feed, you'll see many, many, many videos that will really inspire you. And these are, as I mentioned, us. It's not anyone else. Our videos. I think here it is. I found it here. Okay, so I want to just play this last video for all you guys. It's one of our compilation videos that we have, and it starts, I think, with what's his name, Michael Griffiths. I don't know if Michael Griffith is here, but it's a very nice video that goes through his journey. Hold on, and it's got a bunch of other people's videos in it too. So here we go. Actually, you know what? I want to end with Andrew Rice. Okay, it doesn't have the music and the sound, but it's a pretty, it's very well done.
Movement here and
So Andrew Rice is our leader in Florida. So let me end with this. Make sure that I'm sharing the right screen. Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrew Rice, a software solutions architect and a leader in the Truth, Freedom, Health movement here in Florida. If you're like me, you've known for a long time that the system is rigged against the working people. Maybe you voted in the past for someone who seemed to say all the right things, only to feel betrayed when their actions in office contradicted their promises. Or maybe, like me, you haven't voted in years, refusing to give your energy or consent to a system that's so corrupt. But this year is different. This year, we have a candidate who not only speaks the truth, but does it boldly, at the right time, backed by real action in the form of a bottoms-up movement. You've probably heard, this isn't just another election. And that's actually true, but not for the reasons that the establishment or controlled alternative media say. Our campaign is historic. We finally have someone on the ballot who isn't handpicked by the establishment, someone who's not just another puppet in a rigged game designed to keep the power away from us, the working people. Dr. Shiva is one of us. His whole life is a testament to the power of resilience, grassroots action, and an unshakable dedication to truth, especially when it matters most. The Shiva for President campaign is powered by thousands of people worldwide, across every state and countries around the world, and it's thanks to the tireless efforts of Dr. Shiva and all of our incredible volunteers that we have this amazing opportunity. The Truth, Freedom, Health movement is a true bottoms-up movement, which is what the establishment fears the most. It's why the censorship and media blackout of Dr. Shiva has been so absolute. Voting for Dr. Shiva, it's a way to reclaim your energy, channel your voice toward genuine change, and to be a part of a historic movement. So I urge you to seize this moment with me. This is our chance to vote for someone who's fought for us, who's one of us, and who's building a movement for real change. Vote or write in Dr. Shiva for president. Let's send a powerful message. We are done with being controlled. That itself is a true victory. Remember, real change won't come from above. It starts with us, from the bottoms up. Join the Truth, Freedom, Health movement. Vote for Dr. Shiva or write him in. Together, we can shatter the swarm once and for all.
All right, that was Andrew. And so Andrew, by the way, has really grown. But the cool thing is that reason I wanted to share that with you is we have people in our movement now who are able to articulate beautifully. They're able to talk and share these concepts. And we have, I think 40, 50 videos like that, a number of people. So I want you to go through them when you have time. And if you want to do a video, please let us know. And Andrew, will help you, or you can just do it with your iPhone. But when you start articulating what you've learned, you integrate it into your psyche a little bit better. So that's what we've done. So I want to encourage everyone to do that and to go through those videos. It's a really nice learning experience, and there's lots and lots of them up there. It's 10:56. We should wrap up. We've been on for 3 hours. Pushpa, is it a quick comment, please, before we sign off? Go ahead, Pushpa, quick comment.
Dr. Shiva, I have a message from my mother in India.
She wants to congratulate you on being the first naturalized citizen to be on the ballot. And we're all very proud of you.
Thank you for your
and
nice
happy of
card,
you.
by the way, which I was gonna, thank you for your sweet card.
Oh, you got it? Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Yeah, very sweet. of
And
you.
she also wants to say, please get drishti removed. I know I'm going on the woo-woo part of it.
Right.
So she thinks that your movement and you have the drishti on you. So please have somebody older than you do it for you. It doesn't work if I do it for you. It has to be somebody older than you. I would have done it for you on Zoom, Dr. Shiva.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
That's
be well.
all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Let's go to Bosin. Go ahead, Bosin. Do you want to share something?
Yeah, I have the write-in votes by state here. I can share my screen.
Well, you have both, right? The votes and the write-in. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Bosin.
Okay, so it looks like these are the write-in votes that we have by state.
And then when you add them all up, what do you get at the bottom? Okay, so 255,924 votes is what we're looking at. That's what we did as a team. Thanks, Bosin. And what's fascinating is you'll find that wherever we handed out cards, the number of votes were really higher, okay? So you can really find out these cards really had an effect. And again, if you extrapolate, we did it at like 70 cents, $1 a card. What would happen if we had $100 million, right? We'd get 100 million votes. I mean, it'll probably be a little bit tapered off, but the point is, it's people power that did it. And by the way, someone said there was a couple of other parties. Yeah, but those parties have been around for 30, 40, 50 years. We just came out today and we did better than, if you look at our vote counts, many of those parties, even those independent parties. All right, everyone, I want to thank everyone, particularly those people overseas who've stayed awake until probably 3, 4 in the morning. That's why we have the 11 a.m. and the 8 p.m. one. I want to thank all of you who participated. Many of you helped out in many, many different ways. People did online work, people did offline, people got on the ground. But just know that we're all very fortunate to have this infrastructure right now. The world is. And we should really, really leverage it. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be lots and lots of people who are going to be really wanting to come to this movement because they are going to realize who've been watching on the sidelines. They built a lot of trust now. Now they're going to want to jump in. So we need really good warrior scholars. We need good leaders, more leaders, but solid leaders. We don't need a lot of people who are, not disciplined, low quality. We need high quality people. So committed people. So that's the opportunity that awaits all of us. But thank you very much. And I want to again thank all the great people who helped us get this far. Bill Grooms is here. Bill was in Pennsylvania. Bill, we had a bunch of people that Bill had health issues, but he got out there and he collected close to 2,000 signatures. Thanks, Bill.
Hey, more than welcome. Thank
yeah.
you. All
Thanks.
And I managed to get out just over 4,000 cards. I loved
Yeah.
it. Had a good time.
Yeah, we got lots and lots of write-ins out of there, Bill. Thanks. All right, everyone. Thank you. Be well. And Sonia, I'm going to sign off, so I'll leave. Bosin, can you sign everything out?
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure you close everything. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Be well. Bye-bye. Be the light. Who would have ever thought I'd be running for president of the United States of America? I was born a low-caste untouchable in India's caste system, a system of aristocracy, oppression, and racism. My name is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. I'm an MIT PhD, a Fulbright scholar, a scientist, engineer, entrepreneur, and inventor. My family and I left India to come to America on my 7th birthday. I grew up in the working-class neighborhoods of New Jersey, playing baseball, mowing lawns, painting houses, and coding software. My friends and neighbors are blacks, Italians, Irish, people of all races. As a 14-year-old, I wrote 50,000 lines of software code to create the world's first email system and was awarded the first U.S. copyright for email, recognizing me as its official inventor at a time when copyright was the only way to protect software inventions. I did that long before I ever came to MIT. revealing that big innovations can occur anytime, any place by anybody. Growing up, I saw politicians dividing us by race and religion in both America and India, to have us fighting each other while they remained safe in their gated communities and in their playgrounds of Hollywood, Martha's Vineyard, and Silicon Valley. I'm a fighter. I fought racism and exposed their imperialist wars, fought for workers, and put my life on the line against global corruption. I never wanted to run for political office. All that changed when I saw working Americans as never before being duped by the establishment and the not-so-obvious establishment. Across left and right, we were being sold out and made to forget why we came to America and why America existed. Lawyers, academics, billionaires, celebrities, and politicians, elites, Clintons, Kennedys, Bidens, Obamas, Bushes, black and white have hijacked America. They printed trillions for their friends. They delivered crumbling infrastructure, corruption, and racism. They've transferred trillions to themselves, dividing black and white, fear-mongering, and fake science. Lockdowns and censorship, dirty air, food, and water, pushing drugs upon us, making us sicker. We've been sold out. One set of rules for them and another for us. We deserve a warrior with a history of courage in putting everything on the line for you, who believes in you, not them, who has created a movement bottoms up for truth, freedom, health. I've exposed their lies at the right time, never waiting until it was popular. I've exposed their false gods who exist to lead you back to them. I've exposed their fake science of lockdowns and masking and provided you solutions to fight them and win and protect your immune system, saving millions. I exposed Fauci, galvanized the Fire Fauci campaign when others remained silent. When they stole our election, we sued the government and Twitter in our historic 2020 federal lawsuit, exposing in bare view the government and big tech censorship infrastructure, the unholy alliance between government and social media companies. Where was Elon and his grifters? They stood by the sidelines and did nothing. They did not use their megaphones to help us when it could have made a big difference. Now our movement grows for truth, freedom, health, independent of all of them. Every day, millions are learning the science of systems, the knowledge the elites do not want you to have, so you may learn how to think, stand up, and fight, independent of the establishment of left and right and their fake heroes. Now it's time for you to join the movement, to win back America, to win back truth, win back freedom, win back your health. That's why I'm running for President of the United States. This race is about you. This race is about truth, freedom, health versus power, profit, control. We've had enough. They think we'll fall in line and vote again for their lawyers, celebrities, billionaires, and chosen ones from above. We choose our heroes from below, from the rank and file, who do what is right at the right time, not when it's convenient and popular. They can never represent us. What America needs is a movement by the working people, for the working people, who are educated, organized, decentralized, and fight for independence from their systems of control. And that movement exists. It's ready for you. We don't need them. We need us to go bottoms up, neighbor to neighbor. My journey, your journey are all the same. It's our time. It's time we had one of us. It's time to win back truth, freedom, health, to win back America. Be part of this historic movement, all the way to our victory on November 5th, 2024. If you're an American citizen, pledge your vote now for Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, the independent candidate for U.S. President. No matter where you live, you can be a part of this. Volunteer as little as 20 minutes a day. Don't delay. This is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, and I approve this message, paid for by Dr. Shiva for President. We have allowed our country to be taken over from within, and the end goal is you will have a homogenized world where we will become slaves, because there is a condition among the elites that really thinks they're better than you, deep down inside them, that you don't deserve the freedoms you have. They don't. This reality is what people need to wake up to, and we need to all unite working people. There's only one movement that can do that, and that is the movement that we started creating here in Massachusetts, the movement for truth, freedom, and health. Look, I've been a student of politics since I was a 4-year-old kid, studying revolutionary movements, left wing, right wing. There's a physics, there's a nuclear science to destroying the establishment. To build a bridge, you need to understand Newton's equation. You need to understand the laws of gravity. You need to understand Poisson's ratio. There is a way to build a revolution. And that's why I put this together. My goal is to train an army of truth, freedom, and health leaders. We don't need followers like social media. We need leaders, but they need training because the educational system does not teach them history, nothing. So in 3 hours, that's what I've started doing. That's the solution. We got to train people first with understanding what a system is, the dynamics of all systems that affect nature. The second is understanding the interconnection between truth, freedom, and health. Freedom is the ability to move freely, communicate freely, talk freely. Without freedom, you cannot convert ideas, hypothesis into truth, which is science. And without freedom, you can't really get to truth. And without truth, you make up fake problems and fake solutions, which means you destroy our health. And without health, which is the infrastructure of us and our body, you can't fight for freedom. Truth, freedom, health. Third concept is it has to be bottoms up. Working people, people who work uniting. And what the right wing has done is whenever you say working people unite, that must be communist. Meanwhile, they've let the Democrats run unions, which suppress workers, completely corrupt. But when you look at the arc of American history, it's been when working people came up. We need to go local. Every solution I'm coming up with as a part of this movement, we're giving the science, which is the truth, and then we tell people what they can do on the ground. Like with election fraud, you don't need to wait for some lawyer. Our goal is to train people to go local, to go local, to go local, fight locally. Forget lawyers, forget politicians, forget celebrities. You got to learn politics, and there is a science to it. They lock us down, we should be ready to shut them down. And the fourth part of this principle is the not so obvious establishment. So when you look at a system, there's always something that disturbs you from getting to your goal. Well, the biggest disturbance is the not so obvious establishment, which are those people who claim they're for you, on the left and the right. The Al Sharptons who tell black people I'm for you. The Tucker Carlsons. Do you think any true anti-establishment person will ever be on Fox or CNN? I don't think so. They both mislead working people back into the establishment. Without this solid understanding of political physics and theory, you're screwed. You're going to follow on the left wing, Bernie Sanders. Oh, he said something. Or Robert Kennedy. Scumbags. Or you're going to follow some right-wing talk show host. They're not going to lead us to liberation. It's us. We're building a bottoms-up movement, and that political physics, it's a nuclear science of change. Bottoms up. We have to organize to understand that there is people who talk a good game and then look at what they actually do, left and right. I'm sorry, Sean Hannity may say some good things, but I don't see the urgency in his voice to get something done. And it can only come when you weaponize yourself with the right knowledge. You need to be able to identify a rat. You know, Christ didn't go after the Romans, right? It was the Pharisees and the Sadducees who screwed him up. His own quote-unquote people. And that's where we're at. So these four concepts I've built into a curriculum where people can go to truthfreedomhealth.com, and it's an educational program. We need to train people in political theory. You need to have physics, and I've created that curriculum. People need to get educated. We need to get educated fast. And within a half an hour, I can teach people. 2 years of MIT control systems, I teach people those concepts. Then I apply it, anyone can understand it. And then you say, oh, I got to build a bottoms-up movement. They have to get politically astute, and then they have to go locally and act, not sit there on social media. They have to act locally, defy locally, do civil obedience locally, but with knowledge on how to build a movement. And the Senate campaign's expanded to the movement for truth, freedom, and health, and they can find it on truthfreedomhealth.com, so people can sign in, they can get access to a bunch of videos. If they want to take a course and become a truth, freedom, health leader, I offer a full scholarship there, but we want people to make a commitment that they'll study, that they'll get certified, that they'll go do activities on the ground. So go to truthfreedomhealth.com.